Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host, Conqueror Corey. We met Mike, and I didn't think this one was going to make it.
I didn't either.
So, we're actually doing a video on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. Now, I ordered this a couple weeks back. We've been planning this trip for me to come up and see Mike here, do a couple videos, and I live a couple hours away, and we were kind of watching the tracking ever so anxiously.
Anxiously is probably the best word.
Because first, with the lockdowns happening in China, and I told Mike, I said, I don't know if it's going to arrive or not. I think it got locked down in China. And then it arrived stateside, but then it just stayed there and did not update at all. It stayed in the major. It cleared customs and stayed in that area. And then all of a sudden, I got a text this morning before I was starting to leave. They said, hey, it's on the way to the post office.
We'd actually written this off of our list of videos because what we do is we plan everything out, and then when he comes up, we knock them out, and we're good to go. But we actually written this off, and then he sent me that message like, yes!
So here we are. We're doing this for you because, one, we want to talk about, is it a good investment worth the money? We'll talk about the price a little bit later. But without further ado, here it is in its beautiful glory. For those that don't know, Retroid is an Android handheld. I think most all of them had Android, but it's meant for emulation.
Yeah.
It's very themed heavily around the Game Boy Advance, that kind of things. But without further ado, go ahead, Mike. I'll give you the honors of opening this bad boy.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
He never lets me open things.
I turned a new leaf. What can I say? I'm a changed man.
All right, so I just cut straight down the middle of the box, right?
No, you got to stab it.
Oh, that's right. Let's go. Here we go.
If we're doing a durability test video. we haven't been sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends yet. We can't give you that kind of content right now.
The second part of this video is will it blend? Okay, so presentation-wise,
I love the magnetic.
I like the magnetic box.
Real premium build.
Throughout this whole channel, every time we get a cool box, that's the big thing that I'm like, oh.
We spent 5-10 minutes talking about the box.
Look at box. Box is good. I'm going to try not to do that this time. So it actually opens up really nice. I love the presentation of it automatically. It's got the plastic in here.
Oh,
it's kind of hard to get a hold of to pull it out, so it just kind of slides out here. So I'm guessing here we have the screen protector. That's cool. I'm glad they sent one of those with it.
Mrs. Conker's going to have to put that on. Ooh, it's tempered.
Oh.
That's not cheap.
No.
That's
oh, that is. That's real good tempered glass.
Ooh, that's not bad at all.
And then you've got the... That's very Switch-like. Very Switch-like. We'll get to that in a sec. So, and then she just pops right out. Is that a mag? Oh. USB cable. It's USB-C. But it has these clips on it to help you keep it wound up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Looks like a slinky. Hang on. Wait. Ah!
You know, everyone loves a slinky.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to slide this out. Oh, ooh, wow.
Ooh, that looks nice.
I have to say, this is really sleek. I love the model you bought, too. There's a bunch of different colors, but this one is modeled after the NES, is that right?
Yeah, so the colors you can choose from on the website, Retroid's website. You have the 16-bit Famicom, in the European, the multicolored, the rainbow colored buttons.
Oh, really? That's cool.
That you got a black, solid black. You have a 16-bit US, which is what this model is. I'm a huge sucker for the color layout of the Super Nintendo in America.
Me too.
You have a GameCube purple model.
Oh, that's neat.
You have a retro model, which is fashioned after the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. You have a GameCube yellow model. You also have two new ones, I think, that is exclusive to the 3 Plus. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think 3 may have had it, but I'm pretty sure the 3 Plus. There is a translucent purple, a clear purple, and a clear teal. Well, it says blue, but it looks more like a teal. So that's obviously probably a lot like the old Game Boy Advances.
Yeah.
So it fashions after a lot of Nintendo products. It looks just like the Retroid Pocket 3 looks just like a Switch Lite.
It does. It's a little smaller than a Switch Lite. And I have to say, it feels really good. Just like initial impressions getting it in my hand, it feels pretty good. Getting the buttons is not that hard. It may be a little small for meaty hands.
What do you think?
But it doesn't feel that bad. I'm going to stop hogging your toy and actually let you touch. Oh, I changed my mind. Here we go.
So, it's kind of okay. So the buttons on the right, I really like them. The joypads. I don't know how I feel about the directional pad.
Yeah.
It's a little spongy. These are digital switches, I believe. They said they're not analog. The biggest gripe I got with this, and it may take some getting used to, and maybe, but yeah. So two things. One, the start and select button is on the top here, normally where your volume rocker would be. So it takes a little bit of getting used to reach up and press those. I don't know, you can't really see it good, but the start select right here. And I get it; they have limited space here. They had to work with,
Right.
So they had to make something work. It does got a microphone port. It does got a 3.5 headphone jack. Apple, are you listening?
Wow.
Samsung, are you listening? Headphone jack.
That's weird.
We still use those. It charges via USB-C, so that's pretty standard. Glad you do have a SD card slot at the bottom. The onboard storage of this is actually
128.
128 gigabytes, and it has 4 gigabytes of RAM. But we'll get into specs in a minute.
It's also got a HDMI out on the top.
Oh yeah, micro HDMI. Is it micro or mini? It's micro. I'm pretty sure it's micro. I always confuse the two.
Micro mini. I just take a cable and jab it in there till it works.
My other knock is the volume rocker is on this side, so when you're playing like this and you're getting really into it, you may end up hitting the volume.
Same thing with the home button on the other side. That is something that when I just noticed really worries me.
Well, the good news is like when you hold it like this, like when I hold it, my hand is kind of away from it.
Yeah.
So, but people have different size hands. People with smaller hands, like kids, or I think they really love this. Feels real. It's got a nice weight to it.
It does.
It don't feel cheap.
It's got a decent heft to it.
Probably the battery.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the big thing with me, like you said, like when I'm playing a game, a handheld, I do this a lot because I stretch my fingers out, and as soon as I did that, I felt that button click. But we'll see when we get to the testing stage of it.
So, and for reference here, size reference, here is the Retroid Pocket 2. So you see, it is a good deal bigger.
Yeah.
Got a screen, and it does have a touch screen. We don't have a Switch Lite, but we do have a Steam Deck,
the honker,
and so you can see that now. Probably without a doubt, your Steam Deck is going to be better at emulation, hands down. But here is the thing. Talk a little bit about the price now. That totally wasn't your Steam Deck, by the way. Talking about the price, it is priced at $149, which ain't bad.
No,
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Not a bad price. Shipping, you're looking at an extra $10, $15 if you go with 4PX, which is the lowest. And you can get DHL, but it's like $25.
Yeah,
for shipping.
Depends on how bad you want
it. You may not have time to roll the dice like I did with mine, and got lucky. So specs. It is an Android-based device. It's based on Android 11. It does have a front end though, so we'll be getting to that here a little bit later. But it has a Unisoc Tiger T618. What that is, I have no idea. It is a mobile processor. Don't have much experience with it, but
if you know what that is compared to some of the Samsung phones or some of the latest stuff, please let us know in the comments down below, because when it comes to phone tech, we get by.
It's not as powerful as a Snapdragon, obviously, but the price reflects that. It has two A75 cores at 2 gigahertz. That's CPU, and then 6 A55 cores at 2 gigahertz. So it is a 8-core process, octa-core. But again, keep your expectations. This is octa-core in terms of a mobile device.
Yeah.
It is not a direct comparison to desktop devices. 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's pretty good. I think that's good because it can play. Not only can it play emulators, it plays native Android games.
Yeah.
Which there's one particular game that I'm looking to try it on. That's the main reason I got that device. 4.7-inch screen. Nothing to write home about. It's a 750 by 1334. Standard. I think it's IP. We'll have to look at the angles and say for sure. It has a 4,500 milliamp battery. That's where the weight's coming from.
Oh, wow.
So, and then, like I said, it has some built-in software. So we'll dig into it for sure. So far, I am liking the build. I do like the quality. I love the Super Nintendo theme. I'm just a huge sucker for it. When I was pre-ordering that, I saw that theme and just knew that that's the theme I'm getting.
It's very Switch-like. You know?
Yeah, it's like a shrunk Switch Lite.
I really like it, and I really like the feel. I'm really worried about these buttons on the side, like we were talking about, but we're gonna put it through its paces like we normally do, and we'll see how we feel about it.
All right.
Nope. We'll be back after this message from
Raid Shadow
Legends.
Legends. So there we have it. All in all, a very impressive device. It will play anything from your from a Game Boy up to I would probably say a PlayStation Portable really, really well. At least the games we tested. Now your mileage may vary. Emulation is that. It's Wild West.
Mileage may vary.
Mileage may vary. That's right. Or frames may vary. There we go.
There you go. That's better.
What really impressed me is the emulation of a certain device that's shaped like a cube, and the emulator is named after a certain mammal of a very certain company that we love very, very much, but at the risk of being drawn and quartered by them on YouTube, I'm not going to say any names.
Please don't.
But it handles that emulation really, really well.
Really?
Bloody Roar Primal Fury, which is a game I haven't played in a long time. I actually got to load it up on this game, and it played really well. Now you're going to experience some frame dips here and there.
Yeah.
Especially with the higher end stuff like that type of emulation and PlayStation 2 emulation. Now I was even shocked that it even loaded Gundam Xeonic Front.
Yeah. When he said, I'm going to try a PS2 game, I was like, it's not going to work. And then, lo and behold, I hear Xeon Front pop up and start playing. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, so you will have some slowdowns there. So definitely, if you're getting it for PS2 emulation solely, you may want to look into a better option like the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
That can handle it a whole lot better.
The Steam Deck handles all emulation 1,000% better, but cost versus what you get, that's 150 versus the Steam Deck, which is 400 minimum.
Yeah,
500
for the cheapest. 400 for the cheapest.
For the cheapest.
But that's not what this device is for. I don't think this device is geared for PS2 higher emulation.
Right.
I think the true thing this is geared for is a lot of the older titles. It's a really nice icing on the cake that it can handle that newer emulation. Putting air quotes around it because it's not really new, but still.
Right.
What really impressed me as well is the native Android support. It has the Android OS 11, so you get access to Android apps. I was playing Mega Man X Dive, which I love that game.
It looked really good on there too.
And I could play it, and because the game had built-in control mappings, I was able to just map the controller super easy and play. Now, one thing that really pleasantly surprised me is Sword Art Online Integral Fractor, and I know I'm saying that name totally wrong, but forgive me, they need to work on the names. Is a game that I really, really want to play because it's a really cool concept. But I was always turned off of playing it because I had to use the touchscreen control, so I was limited to my phone. Well, we all know that playing games on your phone eats your battery, and when you work a typical 8 to 5 or like we do,
you need that battery.
You need that battery, especially Mike here when he travels a lot. But what was so cool about it is there's a built-in controller mapping that I simply dragged some buttons, assigned some keys, and I was playing Sword Art Online with the controller. So, and that comes down to the final thoughts here in that for $150, it's a pretty good deal.
The initial setup on that thing was really cool too. Like when he started it up, it gave you a list of apps that it recommended you go ahead and install, which I'll show here. All the emulators were on that. He just went through and started clicking them and figure out what he wanted, and just download them for you. It was very easy to set up. It's very beautiful.
And for, like I said, it's at that price point. The market's really oversaturated with these devices. These things are a dime a dozen nowadays.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And one that comes to mind right now is the Logitech G Cloud, that little Android handheld they got. But that thing's almost $350. That's too close to the Steam Deck to
It's
make it
way
worth
too
buying.
close. At that point, you might as well just buy a Steam Deck, in my opinion.
Exactly. I think this is far enough away that you can comfortably get it and not regret. Because some people may not have the extra money for the Steam Deck,
Right.
and you just want something to play Xenogears or Final Fantasy 8, 7, something. Play some of the old Pokemon games. Not that we would do that though.
No, not at all. We would never ever do that.
Never. Even though we already own cartridges. But let us know down in the comments what you think. Do you got one of these? Do you think it's an improvement? How do you feel about it? Personally, I don't regret it. Full disclosure, I did pay for this myself. I bought it with my own funds. We're not sponsored by Retroid to give this review. It's just I believe in giving credit where credit's due. There are some things that are a little bit controversial here because the Pocket 3 came out 2 months ago. And they released a new revision. That's just the nature of things. I think this market is so fastly evolving that you're going to have that happen. Now, one thing I do like that they gave a discount to current owners, and you can also buy an upgrade PCB board. So if you're very savvy with that, you can take the case off, replace the PCB, and boom, you got a 3 Plus.
Yeah.
But all in all, good job, Retroid. I'm very pleased with it. I love the style, the color, and definitely the performance. Really shocked me.
Oh, one thing I want to touch on before we close out, the home button that we're worried about. It's actually got a nice feature to it. If you accidentally click it, you have to click the home button twice to actually go home. You can't just click it once. So if you do it once by accident, it's not going to send you home like I was worried about. So they did think about that. So
They did. The only thing I would probably one quick negative thought I would add is there is no physical buttons for a back or home. You have to learn the gestures on the screen. But it didn't take me too long before I started getting used to it. I didn't even read no manual, and I accidentally discovered it.
I didn't read no manual.
I ain't reading no manual. Who reads manuals? Manuals. But yeah, all in all, I think if you want this for retro emulation, you can't go wrong with it. You'll be happy with the purchase. I don't think it's that expensive for the value that you get out of it. Of course, though, if you got extra money and you got $400 laying around and you decide you want to play a lot more demanding things, the Steam Deck I think is the more attractive option. But for portability, size, price, and the speaker is really, really good too.
Oh man, it's so loud. We would do a test, but it would probably blow out your eardrums. It's really, really loud. He was in 2 rooms over and he could still hear it. So,
but yeah, all in all, I think it's really good. Let us know what you think, and if there's any games that you would like us to test on it, let us know down in the comments. We'll be more than happy to get the R&D team on that. But as always, I'm your co-host Conquer Corey.
I'm Mike,
and we'll see ya.